you're interested and you have Fortnite installed on one of your many devices and you want to be like, yeah, I'm at the Game Awards without being at the actual Game Awards, this is the next best thing. Who is this for? Hello and welcome to another episode of Game Rivals. I am your host Maximilian X, and I'm coming to you with a new episode of Game Rivals. This one is going to be a little bit on the short side because there's not a lot of news, but there are some pretty juicy news articles that I do want to cover as we are getting to the end of the year. The news is starting to trickle down, slow down as people are getting ready for the holidays. If you're listening to this as this episode drops, don't forget the Black Friday deals are live and they will be going live up until usually till the 27th of November this year. So pick up some good games, pick up some good bundles for a good price, and you'll be set for the holidays. But enough of that dilly dallying. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to give it a like if you like the episode. If you have a comment, leave a comment in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more of this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe. So, without further ado, let's jump into the first article. This is going to be a little bit of a sad article, but the thing is, we've seen so many articles of this past year. It's not surprising that we're seeing more of them as we're getting to the end of the year. Amazon axes 180 workers in the games divisions. Two decisions specifically got shut down: Crown Channel and Game Growth. Now, this is a part of Amazon's gaming division, and it's not like they haven't cut jobs before. They cut jobs last year, like 27,000 of them. Part of them was a Twitch, and it looks like they were not done yet because they ended up laying off staff of their gaming divisions, saying that they want to focus more on the Amazon Prime, Twitch Prime memberships with the free games for Prime. So I guess they don't need that much more people. So they're like, okay, well, time to cut some staff. It's like, no, you could probably do both of them and still not have to fire people. But I guess Amazon was like, well, we're seeing people are still firing people, so we have to let more people go and give a crappy excuse. Thanks, Amazon. You prove that you're still crappy in all the ways to count. I hope these people land on their feet. It's been a crazy year. It's been a crazy year for people in the games industry. So many people have lost jobs. That especially people that work for like development teams that Embracer bought, and then their deal fell through. So now they're just like shuttering studios left and right. And it's like if you left those studios alone, they'd still be there making the games that they want to make. So you also did us a solid, Embracer Group. Thank you so much for being so generous. Jeez Louise. I don't like these like news articles because it's just like it's it happens, you know. It happens. It is very unfortunate. We don't like these things, but you still have to report on them because it is people's livelihoods. People had to like move to like get to their new jobs and stuff like that. So when stuff like this happens, it's always sad. So again, I hope they land on their feet. Um, you know where they're not firing people, though, thank goodness. It is at Bandai Namco, which has announced that they have created a new studio called Studio 2 and Studio S. That's the name of the studio. I Sure. Studio 2 and Studio S. You'd think like, oh, this is a new studio. Oh, what are they gonna do? Well, apparently they have been working on stuff at Bandai Namco for a while now. Specifically, everything that has to do with Bandai Namco's and Nintendo's joint efforts because Studio 2 and Studio S will be working exclusively on Nintendo games. And they have been working on Nintendo games as posted on their website, which is super crazy. Um, it's super crazy because it's a studio from a third party that now has a studio that is dedicating themselves to making games for a first party, even though they're not part of that first party studio. So, what have they worked on? I don't know, little titles as Super Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Sports Superstars. Okay, random. Um, but maybe other stuff that you might know, like say Smash 4 and Smash Ultimate. Yeah, it's that same team, or at least people from that same team that have worked on these titles. So this is a partnership that Nintendo and Bandai Namco have had for many years now. Basically starting since the Wii U era, because at that time Nintendo was not very versed in HD game making, so they partnered with Bandai Namco for support, and Bandai Namco have been supporting them for years now on a bunch of different titles, including ARMS and Mario Kart Tour. So now they have basically said, okay, we are putting those resources in a dedicated studio, and they will work for dedicated Switch titles, which is a big deal because the last time something like this happened was back in the 90s, technically speaking, or the early 2000s, when the teams that used, or team members that worked on Super Mario RPG left Square Enix to become damn it, what was that studio called again? I forget. Alpha Dream. They became the studio known as Alpha Dream, and they worked on the on the Mario and Luigi uh, RPGs like Superstar Saga, Inside Story, and all those Super Mario, all those Mario and Luigi games. A similar thing happened where the team over at uh formerly the Bomberman studio. Oh my gosh, I forget. Hudson. The former team at Hudson that originally worked on the Mario Party games left Hudson and became a separate entity within Nintendo that makes the Mario Party games. So that's how that works. So that's things that make sense. This is different. I don't know what's going to happen with the studio in the future. It could be that if they continue to do good work, Nintendo will just say, well, we want to buy them outright from Bandai Namco. They might do it because they have had a really good relationship, or they just keep it as is. I do like the name that it's called Studio 2 and Studio S. I don't know if it's two separate studios, or actually, you know what? It probably is two separate studios that have joined forces because, like I said, the team that worked on the Smash games are a dedicated team versus the teams that supported Nintendo with their HD endeavors, which were probably like team members that they picked up here and there from Bandai Namco and put together in like a makeshift studio back when it was still a makeshift studio. And then they decided, you know what, we're gonna make it official. So official, in fact, that they are I don't know if they're actually like hiring, but they have like their about us page where they show off some stats. Like for example, that 22% of their workforce of Studio 2 and Studio S is women, with the remaining 78% being dudes. There are about 152 people working for these studios, which is super great. There are other stats, but I cannot read Japanese, so I cannot really tell you them. I think part of them is like experience versus new team members. So I think new team members make up like 32% of the staff, whereas the veterans make up 68%, I think, and uh, 37% of them are doing like design, 32% of them are coders, and uh, 41% are artists. Okay, that's a lot of artists. That's a lot of artists for a team this big. Yeah, 152 people. That's a lot of people for a studio. That's actually not bad. So yeah, kudos to them for um, dedicating a studio to Nintendo, and I hope we see more cool things coming from them. I hope they continue to support Nintendo in making games, and who knows, maybe in the future they will make original games themselves for Nintendo. But this is clearly showing that Bandai Namco and Nintendo's partnership is here to stay for the foreseeable future. What is in a further future, unfortunately for us, will be the next Mass Effect game. Now we know that this is in the works, and we know that because of all the things that they have been through over the past couple of years with Mass Effect Andromeda, Anthem, uh, just being like very poorly received and not good, and to the point that Anthem is dead. Uh, and now Dragon Age is also like they're making sure that Dragon Age Dreadwolf is an actual good game. So they're taking their sweet time, and because they're taking their sweet time with Dragon Age Dreadwolf, that has to come first. That's what their focus is on. So they're gonna finish Dragon Age Dreadwolf first. Once that is complete, once they are happy with the product, they will ship that. Once that's shipped, Mass Effect is next, which means that at the earliest, we won't see a new Mass Effect game until 2029. My money is on 3032. 32. No, not 1,000 years in the future. 2032. Uh, yes. I mean, we'll see. Mass Effect Andromeda. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't play it, but gosh darn it, did I see the memes back then? And woof, were they memes? Ugh, that's not great. It was not great. I really hope they take their time with Dragon Age. The fans deserve it. Mass Effect, the fans deserve a good game. They've been patient, and they will continue to be patient. So yeah, let's see what happens there. Just have to wait and see how that goes. Another thing that we do not have to wait for, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your perspective on things, Sony is having the number of PlayStation Live service games that it aims to launch by March 2026. Sony has announced plans to reevaluate its big push into live service gaming, reducing the number of games that is originally planned to release over the next couple of years. Honestly, that is a good thing. Shout outs to GameSpot for covering this article, and shout outs to uh, Go Nintendo and IGN and all the good stuff where they, report on the news. Um, that's where I get my content from. It's a lot easier that way. But yeah, like not everybody's gonna read the news, and there's so much news that comes out sometimes. Like smaller things get like misting through cracks. This is not a small thing. This is a big thing. Because let's be real here. Nobody, and I do mean nobody, was looking forward to like six live service games from Sony. It's like nobody was looking forward to that. None of them looked remotely palatable. Maybe Marathon, but even then, we don't even know what Marathon is supposed to be like. And that got delayed, so we still don't know what's that gonna be like. The Last of Us multiplayer game also got delayed because Bungie had to look at it and then said, "Nah, fam, maybe not yet." So yeah, we're gonna see how that works. There's a lot going on at Sony with like Jim Ryan retiring, so yeah, who knows who knows what the landscape is gonna look like for PlayStation within the next 2 to 6 months, right? If they're gonna delay some games, so be it. Personally, I'd rather they cancel it and focus on what they're good at, single player games that are strong. That's what they're good at. maybe try and focus on that. You don't need to have all your gosh darn games being live services. You know why? Because most gamers do not like live services. There's also way too many live service games to choose and stick to. They cost way too much money to invest in, and they cost way too much time to invest in. Most people stick to one and they stick with it unless they nibble here and nibble there. Not everybody has the luxury and time unless you are a gosh darn child. And if you're focusing these games on children, that's a different ethical and moral discussion that we can have that I'm not going to have right now because, for one, it's just me. And I'd rather have this conversation with other people and get their opinions on it and not being me just saying, please stop with the live game services. I know there are fans of these kind of games. I'm not one of the biggest fans of them. Do I play them? Sure. Doesn't mean that I'm a big fan of them at all. Unless it's a really good, solid game, I don't care. I really don't care. It's one of the reasons why I rarely play Fortnite unless they do something that catches my eye. I'm like, well, oh crap, I gotta have to check it out. Even with that, like when they dropped the old map, I'm like, okay, cool. Did you sure? And like, even though it was like the biggest thing to happen to Fortnite since Fortnite happened, I still don't care because it's not a thing that attracts me to a game. Now, playing a solid single or multiplayer game or co-op game, yes, bring that on. Story driven games. Yes, please. Action driven games with great mechanics. Yes, please. I know that not everybody's going to agree with me on that one, and that's absolutely fine. Everybody has their own thing that they want to focus on. Everybody has their own kind of games that they like. Me, not a big fan of live service games. I feel like they take, honestly, I feel like they take away the integrity of gaming as it is. And let's be honest, it hasn't been that great lately. So that's just me. Um, it's just, yeah, it's not great. You know what is great, at least for those that are in the portable PC market? The new Steam Deck. Yeah, they announced a new Steam Deck. Not not a Gen 2 or anything, just an updated Steam Deck, which comes with an OLED screen. And apparently it is really good. It helps with the battery life because OLED uses less energy because when the pixels are turned off, they are actually off. They're not like backlit or anything. So that does help with like darker games, we'll say from battery life and stuff like that. And of course, the crisper image of the OLED looking good. And because of that, the prices have also come down and shifted. So it's actually a better deal now more than ever if you want to pick up a Steam Deck. I don't have a Steam Deck. It would be nice to have a Steam Deck just to check out what the whole what the fuzz is about, right? I mean, I have my Switch. I love my Switch, and I can't wait to see what happens next year when the sequel the sequel to the Switch the follow up to the Switch comes out. There are a lot of cool and interesting things we're hearing about that. So that's really cool. But it's also cool to see that Valve is taking the Steam Deck very seriously because we have seen it in before in the past with the Steam machines and the Steam Link and the Steam controller. And do I? No, that's actually pretty much it. Those are like projects that they have touched upon in terms of hardware. They dabbled in it, it failed, and then they dropped it. So yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate because the Steam Link was actually pretty kind of cool. The Steam controller, I feel like could have used a little bit more workshopping. But for what it was different. It was, I want to say it was innovative, but has anybody tried to replicate it outside of Valve themselves? Not really. I mean, that's why we have the touchpads on the Steam Deck, and they're the only ones that still do stuff like that. So yeah. Um, it might also be a patent thing. I don't know. Um, so yeah, so if you want to pick up a Steam Deck for cheap, they still have a baseline with just the LED, but now they also have the OLED model that does support HDR, by the way. So that's pretty impressive. I don't think The OLED on Switch supports HDR, but then again, I don't think the Switch is powerful enough to support HDR to begin with. But yeah, if you want to have PC gaming on the go and have it look better than ever with improved battery life and HDR lighting, can't go wrong with the Steam Deck. Um, I was talking about. I should have done this better. I was talking about the whole, Fortnite, and I don't care. This is also one of the things that, even though it's something that I care about, it's not something that I care about. So Jeff Keighley has got it so that the Game Awards will also be held virtually in Fortnite. Yeah, that's yeah. That so at the same time, while you're you can be watching the live action stuff on the stream, but you could also be virtually present at the Game Awards if you want to be there. Unfortunately, because of the time, I will not be able to experience this live, which kind of sucks. Um, I like my sleep. I like my rest. By the time it goes live here, it's like 3 a.m. It's like, no, no, we're not gonna do that, Monsignor. We're not gonna do that right now. But yeah, if you're interested and you have Fortnite installed on one of your many devices, and you want to be like, yeah, I'm at the Game Awards without being at the actual Game Awards, this is the next best thing. Who is this for? I guess for the, I don't know who this is for. I'm gonna be honest. The Fortnite crowd, sure, yeah, let's go with that. It's made for the Fortnite crowd. Otherwise, it will not be for. I guess this is kind of the whole, like meta world kind of thing, and like being like, oh, Fortnite is a meta world. Yeah, because we've had concerts in there from Ariana Grande uh, and other people. I forget real quickly. And that's the only one I remember. Um, yeah, so it is a meta world. I think that's the whole idea behind it. Like, you don't need a VR glasses to be in a meta world, which is true. It's absolutely true. I mean, but yeah, it's absolutely true. No comment on that one. Uh, Another thing that we might have something to look forward to, even more so, something that is up my alley. Dragon's Dogma 2 might actually be coming out sooner than later, because apparently it has been rated, which usually games don't get rated until they're close to release, which probably means that it's still slated for um, Capcom's fiscal year of 2023. Am I saying that correctly? Yeah. So their fiscal year ends March 31st, like most Japanese companies do. So yeah, if it's being rated, that probably means that it's coming out anywhere between now and March 31st. So anybody looking forward to Dragon's Dogma 2, hey, look forward to it. It's coming out really soon. I tried playing Dragon's Dogma on the Switch because I had a Switch copy that I bought when it was on sale for like dirt cheap. I was like, okay, let's finally check out Dragon's Dogma. And I don't know. I got stuck in a tutorial thingy because of the timing, and I was like, no. It seems interesting. The gameplay seems interesting enough, but then that happened. So no, 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 just no. And finally, the one thing that I want to talk about. So I've talked about stuff like this before in the past, and I'm like, sure, whatever. But this one, we've talked about this one predecessor before on this podcast, and we both agreed. Me and former co-host John Tepler agreed this was ridiculous. Now we have reached the zenith of that, people. The Last of Us Part 2 is getting a remaster for PlayStation 5. Why? Why is that happening? Why is that, like, who thought that that was a good idea? The only reason why this is not as bad as the previous one is if you own The Last of Us Part 2. on PlayStation 4, you can upgrade to this for $10. Otherwise, you have to pay full price for it. Why? Like, okay, you know what? Fine. At the very least, they offered an upgrade to that version, something they did not do with the remaster of Last of Us Part 1. You had to buy it again. Why? People already owned it twice. The PlayStation 3 version and the remastered version. They owned it twice. Why did you want to sell it to them 3 times? I know that they brought it out on PC. That is besides the point. Why did you sell them on PlayStation twice and then once more? That makes no sense to me. At least with the upgrade path, I can accept that. I still don't accept that they're calling it remastered. Just say PS5 version. Or just don't put anything on it. Just say, hey, The Last of Us Part 2 is getting a native version on PS5. That's it. It's gonna get enhanced graphics. It's gonna look nice. If you have the PlayStation 4 version, you can upgrade to it. That's all you need to say. You don't need to call it remastered. You are making the word remastered lose all meaning. What is wrong with you, Sony? Why do you keep doing this? It just even Nintendo, when they remade Super Mario RPG, they didn't call it Super Mario RPG Remake. That makes no sense, right? That is like they just said no. We're calling it the Japanese title, Super Mario RPG. No anything extra. It is just that. Clean to the point. Also, if you were gonna do this when the flipping PlayStation 5 came out, not almost 4 years later. What is this? Where are we? Is this reality? I do not understand. I don't understand, and I will probably never understand. You know what? It's fine. At least they're up. It's an upgrade path, and not just forcing a full price title down your throat unless you haven't bought it before. Ah, sorry. That stuff really ticks me off. For reals. Um, and with that little explosion, we have come to the end of this episode of Game Rivals. I told you guys it was going to be a short one. Still, a lot of news in a very short time. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're watching this on YouTube again, don't forget to leave a like if you like this. Don't forget to drop a comment. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, please hit the subscribe button and be sure that you hit the bell so that you get notified whenever a new episode drops. We're going to have some fun episodes dropping for the end of the year. So please, if you want to see that as it drops, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you're listening to this on the audio version, thank you so much for listening. You can find us on every podcasting service. Our home is on Spotify, but we're also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, you name it, we're probably there. You can also leave us feedback through mail, gamerivalsfeedback@gmail.com. You can find me on social media, on Instagram, at Maximilian_X, or on TikTok, even though I'm barely on TikTok, at Maximilian_X. You can find Game Rivals on there as well, at Game Rivals. That is it for me. I will see you guys next time. I have been and always will be Maximilian X. Later.